Hello, Mighty Marriage fans. I'm Nadine,
And I am Mitchell.
and today we'll be talking about beautiful beginnings. We're coming to you from BG St. Lucia Historical Ruins.
Yes, so today we would like to take you all the way back to the beginning. The
Back to the
beginning,
beginning.
yes, way back, way back. Um, it will not be Wednesday, but it's way back. um, Back to when we met, I guess, yeah, all the way there, right?
Yes.
Yeah, Nadine likes to give that story. But she remembers it better than I do. Um, I was working at a bank at the time, and I was a teller. And I remember seeing this young lady walk in and take the line. The line was quite long. In my mind, she was wearing an orange jersey, orange T-shirt.
I was.
Well, okay, all right. So now she admits that it's actually orange, but it was orange T-shirt. So she did really stand out. And I looked, I was like, all right, interesting, quite nice. But surprisingly, the other teller who was alongside me, a young lady, actually tapped me and she brought to my attention. She said, look at a nice little girl on the line for you. I was like, don't worry, I see her already, that kind of thing. So, I mean, yeah, it so worked out that happened that I ended up attending to her, and I promise you, I did nothing to make that happen because as tellers, you could actually slow down the line, or you could pick up the pace so that you attend to a certain customer. But I didn't do that. I promise I didn't do that, and I got to attend to her, which was the best thing I think that ever happened. So I had a small little chit chat whilst during the transaction. Even so, my supervisor at the back had to come back and tap me and tell me, you need to quick up, you need to hurry up, with this customer. I think she was just hating, but I
Good
guess
times, good
that's just
times.
me.
Yes. So that day in question, when I walked into the bank and I stood on the line, I looked at I hadn't been to that bank in a really long time, actually. I had asked my dad for some money to buy some toiletries and makeup. And he said to me, you know what, you're going to have to go to the bank to go to my account to get the money. So I was like, okay, no problem. So I walked into the bank and there was a massive line all the way to the door. And I knew that line would take a really long time. It was before ATM cards were popular. It was before a lot of the things that we enjoy now, the luxuries we enjoy now, were popular. So in any event, I decided, okay, well, I have no choice. I want this makeup, so I have to follow the line. So I did. And while I was standing on the line, I looked at the tellers, and there was this handsome young man. And he was so handsome. I mean, he's still handsome, but he was just so handsome. And I was like, wow, Lord, wow, that's a nice guy, and so on. And so here I was on this line having about 45 minutes before I get to the teller. When I am on the line and I'm speaking to myself, I'm thinking about, okay, how am I going to act? How am I going to look? How am I going to behave? And I looked down on my hand and I noticed I had this sports watch that my mom had got me for Christmas. One of many things. And when I looked down, I noticed how massive it was and it had a chronometer type function. And I was like, oh my. I remember there's this guy friend of mine and he said to me, girl, if I saw you with that watch and I liked you, I wouldn't like you anymore. So what I did while I was on the line, I took out the watch and I put it in my bag. But then I'm like, but if he's going to like me, he's going to like me regardless of my watch. So I took my watch back and I put it back on my hand, and here I am waiting and glancing at him every now and again. And I didn't know that he was looking at me, but I'm glancing at him and I'm just kind of, all right. So I started to pray and I said, Lord, please, if I really would like to meet this guy. He looks like a really amazing person. And I really would. But if it's not your will for me to meet him, then that's okay. But I really, really would. It so happened that he ended up being the one to be the teller that I went to. And when I got to the front of the line, he greeted me like tellers do. And he looked at my passport. I didn't have an identification card at that time because I was below 18. He looked at my identity card and he looked at my surname and he said, Kodra, do you know such and such a person? As all Kodras are related. So actually I didn't know that person at the time, but I'm like, you know what, but we're probably related, all Kodras are. And it was somebody he'd gone to school with, and that person shared. So that's how the conversation began. And then I said, so he's like, so what are you up to? And I said, well, actually, I'm out of school now. I'm doing math over. So I took the year off, and then hopefully next year I get to go to college. And then he's like, I didn't get math either, but I'm here, and it's all because of God. And I was like, ding, 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 ding. Because for me, that was one of the biggest things that I looked for in a person. Although at the time that I met him, I really wasn't looking. I had said to my friend, I'm never getting married. And I was on that train and all of that. So that was how it was. But that's basically the story of how we met. And the conversation was the most amazing conversation I had ever had. After we were finished with the transaction, I left the bank. I mean, the bank had like a four-rise step. And so I jumped from the top to the bottom. I was so ecstatic. I went to my youth meeting that night and I spoke to a friend of mine. I said, I met a guy. And then amazingly, I never tell my parents about guys that I like or met. And I did tell my mom, I met a guy today. But I kind of played it down because I really didn't want her to think anything more than it really was. But I met this guy, and for me that really created an impression. And I went home and I thought to myself, I'm not going to go back to this bank at all. I'm not going to go back. I am not going to go looking for him. If he's supposed to be anything more than just a hello, hi, or nice face or a friend, somehow it's going to happen that he'll find me. And I didn't give him my number and anything like that. So what happened next?
Interesting thing, I'm going to go back to when the conversation we had whilst attending to her. During the conversation, I wanted to tell her, you know what, hey, like to encourage her that, okay, here you are doing the math. And I told her, hey, it's by the grace of God that I'm here. Because, I mean, it really was. It really was. That's a whole another story by itself for another segment. How I got to work at the bank. There's a leap of faith. And I had to give God praise. I mean, something just kept telling me, you know, hey, say this. You know, this is the place to introduce God. This is not be ashamed to tell her that with God's help, you know, by God's grace, you know, she can make it. And I said it. And it's not until I said it, because I was like, oh, should she find I'm weird to say that? Blah, blah, blah. And when I did say it, it's like that's when like a load just lifted, just lifted. And it's like, and the conversation just opened up. And then it's like, you're a Christian? It's like, yeah, some Christians like, interesting, you know, that kind of thing. So, and it kind of took off, you know, from there. Yeah. Yes. But she's saying, I know she's setting you up. She's She's buttering you up for something to come. Because she's telling you that she did not give me her number.
It's
she
true.
did not give me blah, 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 blah,
It's true.
Okay. So one thing, guys, you will notice is that from her, what she's saying, as much as guys see, ladies see as well, you know, and she kind of noticed me before I noticed her. So if her own admission, you know, she was looking more than I was, right? But similarly, the evening, I met this friend of mine. And I was saying this friend of mine, I was like, yo, I met this girl today, man. I think that's the one. It's like, you meet this person, and you cannot imagine your life without the person. You know, like, just the fact that, you know, this person is still alive somewhere, and this person is not in your life, or you cannot speak to this person on a daily basis, is a problem. So I had to do everything in my power to meet her again, because I worked at the bank for, at that time, it was about 6 months. I've never seen her. So I'm like, okay, that's a rare occasion. So it doesn't be seeing you again. It's not going to happen. So I did some investigative work. And I got
Investigative work.
investigative work. Let's leave that there. And I got I got her number. I got her home number. Of course, last time like cell phones were not very popular, so I got her home number because she came. She got her okay. She came to do the transaction on behalf of her dad. So I checked up the account. Simple. I checked up the account, her father's account. Saw the phone number. There it is. So I give a call,
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
Bright and early Monday morning around.
and you were so happy.
before 10.
And she was so happy.
The
She was doing
truth is,
dishes.
that's
She was
the
doing
truth.
dishes. You said you were doing dishes.
That's not what I was doing.
What were you doing? But you told me you were doing dishes.
I didn't say that to you.
Okay.
Anywho, so I was actually in my living room that morning singing and so on. And when the phone rang, I picked it up, hello, and he said hello, and his lovely male voice. He put his deepest voice possible. And then he said to me, may I speak to Nadine, please? And I said, Nadine speaking. Now, I'm not expecting a telephone call. So here I am wondering, who the hell is this? I'm sorry for my French. But I'm like, because nobody ever calls me. So I'm getting this, may I speak to Nadine, please? I said, Nadine speaking. And then he went on to say, you remember, in his most professional voice, do you remember that you came into the bank on Friday? And I said, yes, I did. And he said, well, there's a problem. And I went silent. A problem. I'm thinking, okay, what problem is it? And then he's like, oh, no, it's just me, blah, 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 blah. What did you say?
Can't remember.
You can't.
I can't remember.
So yeah, so he's like, I just called. I remember. He said,
What did I say? What did I say?
I met. This is Mitchell, and he changed his voice. He was speaking normally now. He said, "This is Mitchell. We met at the bank on Friday. I had a really good time talking to you, and I just called to invite you to this youth group that I go to on Friday nights." And I was like, "Oh, hi!" And so it was not a very long conversation. I said, "I enjoyed talking to you too," and that's how it began.
Just want to make sure the number was right, so I can call again.
Oh God, I'm gonna regret this.
that was the beginning of many adventures.
Yes, yes.
So I mean, after that, found myself. I mean, you visited the bank a few more times.
Yeah, a couple more
Yeah,
times.
yeah.
I had to go in and do some things every now and again, and I
Yeah,
would, and
she
I said
found
hi.
things to do. You know.
And the truth
She
is, I was
found things,
taking a
yes.
class, a computer class, and he started coming to meet me, and that's how our relationship blossomed. So that's how we met. That's how we met, and over the next year, we got to know each other a whole lot. I took him on a walk.
Yeah, she invited me to a walk. She had those walks.
I'm a
But
walker.
the thing is, she was part of this group, ISCCF, and sort of young people, Christian young people doing stuff together, and post high school and that kind of thing. So it was kind of interesting. It's very fun. I wasn't really a part of it in secondary school, but I wasn't that active. I went to a few meetings, but I wasn't really active. It didn't really interest me. But that time, it's like I met the people. And I was like, "Oh, these are really, really cool people." So that's great. They really embraced me. They welcomed me and stuff like that. That's one of the first times I met like really genuine people. So that was really cool. And yeah, so there are these walks that she said, "Oh, you have a walk to go on." Blah blah blah. We're gonna go. Little did I know, she was laying out the contract for the relationship.
I know I was laying out the contract because I really
so guys, you have to be
didn't
careful.
know
You have to
that.
read between the ladies. You have to always read between the lines. Okay, always read between the lines.
I didn't know.
So we went on this walk, and I had this sneaker. I remember this sneaker. I remember this walk forever because the sneaker was about 2 sizes too small, but it was a nice, sharp-looking sneaker. But and we had to walk from VG to Pigeon Island.
Yes. So Castries to Rosalie.
That's what goes in. From VG Plainfield to Pigeon Island. That's a lot of miles. I can't remember. Check it out. Google it. I don't know. But yeah. So we met. I was so excited. By that time, I was feeling no pain. Oh, here we go talking. Blah blah blah. Blah. I mean, it was really interesting. It was. Don't get me wrong. It was really nice. She's a really interesting person. Really intelligent. Very. She can be very deep and but very genuine. So I found it the time really passed quickly, and went on very well. until I got to about Rodney Bay area, and the shoes were saying, "Okay, that's it. That's enough grace." I think God's grace was running out at that time on those shoes, and I was just like, I just hurting too much. But we had to walk all the way to Pigeon Island. We did make it to Pigeon Island.
Yes, we
all the way to Pigeon Island. Yeah, so don't mind the camera shaking. Is the wind blowing, and it's just a little bit of drops from the trees right now because it's a little bit rainy, and that's what's on my shirt right here. So don't worry about that. Yes, so back to the story. Yes, so we got up to Pigeon Island and we relaxed and everything like that. It was a wonderful time, wonderful, wonderful time. So after my feet stopped hurting, a few days after, I kind of, started thinking back on what she was saying. I was like, huh, okay, that's very interesting. Because now I had gotten to know, and that started, that set the foundation more or less.
Yeah.
That time did set the foundation for our relationship. I mean, we were not in a relationship at the time. We were still friends. We were just like
dating,
basically friends.
early dating,
early,
friends,
like we're just
yes.
friends. We won't dare say that's my girlfriend or boyfriend. That's not just dating. And but really did set the foundation because after that we spoke like in depth about everything.
Yes.
Everything. There's no way I could have gotten to know her without saying that, hey, I know. There's no. I don't have an excuse to say that, hey, I didn't know this or you never said this. Or this kind of thing.
Yes. No, I mean, I'm the kind of person, I'm very transparent. I'm very aware of my limitations. I grew up a little bit differently to the kids of before. I grew up a little more closely to the kids of now. And so I had a mom who did everything at home. And so I didn't learn to do house chores as most people in our society would. Yes, I did them when I was around 11, 12, but I didn't grow up doing house chores. And so I was also not very domestic. I mean, I didn't take to those types of things at all. So it turned out that when I said to him, okay, he asked, he wants to date me. And I said to him, listen to me, mister. No, I didn't say it like that. But I said to him, okay, you have to know a few things about me. There are a few things about me that you need to know. And he said, okay, he's listening. And so I said to him, okay, I don't do laundry. I don't do dishes. And so I really told him where I was at. I said to him, I'm not going to paint a false picture of who I am for you. I do have limitations. And if you are going to date me, you have to know these things about me. And so basically I told him all the bad things to turn him off first.
Yes, she really did catch me at a vulnerable time. That time, thinking straight as guys, all you're seeing is butterflies and hearts and beautiful eyes, and this kind of thing. So whatever she said was okay. I was cool. I was down with that, Once I could get to speak to her, and we're good. Yeah, little did I know, right? But I don't regret at all. At all. But I mean, for all her limitations, whatever her pros will way outweigh that by far. Up till now, I'm still reaping dividends, right?
I hope so. I hope so.
Yeah.
And the truth is, he turned out to be an amazing person. I have to say that I was hooked from the beginning, but after we decided that we were going to do this and do this for keeps, we prayed about it. We prayed for an entire year, hoping and praying and wishing that this would be the right thing for us to do. And it turned out that we felt after an entire year of going out and talking and praying that this was the direction our lives would take. We were a part of each other's purpose. We were a part of, the future for each other. And so we planned a wedding, and 2 years after we met, we got married.
Yep. I mean, best decision ever made.
Yes, indeed.
And still enjoying.
Yeah.
So,
and to be honest, it isn't, as you will know, if you've been married or if you've been in a relationship long enough, you will know it's definitely not without its challenges. However, what we found, the foundation we set, the transparency we had, the truth we told, no matter how inconvenient it was really what kept us transparent throughout our marriage.
Yeah.
We didn't show the version of ourselves, or at least I didn't show the version of myself that I thought he wanted to see, because I knew I wouldn't be able to keep it up.
too much work. Yeah.
I knew I wasn't going to be able to keep it up. So I had to tell him the version of myself that I thought was the least appealing. And if you could accept me as that,
Right.
then we can move together.
Right. I mean, also as well, like even with you, when you were speaking and you would talk. I mean, later on in the marriage, when I would act a fool or something, she would say, "Remember, I told you, I told you that. I told you that I don't do this. I told you I don't cook. I told you that, not you didn't try or you never did." But
Right.
that's just an example.
Right.
You would say, I told you that I don't accept X, Y, and Z. I told you that is not.
And there were a lot
it's
of
not,
things.
that is not something to. That's not compromise.
Yes.
There are no compromise. There are some things you just don't compromise on.
Yes.
And I told you that. So let's not pretend. And that's what I mean. Going back to the basics. That's part of going back to the basics of the relationship and your foundation.
Yes.
So
yes.
I thought about it. I was like, you know what? That's true. Really. Yeah. Some guys are like, oh, that's how you find me. You know?
Yes, yes.
I couldn't say that.
Yes.
Because she told me in the beginning, and I did agree that that's what it was.
Yes.
So really and truly, she really did, by God's grace, of course, and through the grace of God, she really did help me stay on track. As much as possible and stuff like that. And we'll get to know
a lot more
about
goes
that.
By.
But I guess we're running out of time. So yeah, I just want to.
Today we really wanted to just share how important it is to have a good foundation.
Right.
And maybe you could be married or planning on getting married, and your foundation may not have been as transparent as ours are. And even with our marriage and our foundation being quite transparent, there were things about ourselves that we didn't even know until we were into the marriage.
Right.
So these were things we had to handle along the way.
Right.
Having said that, transparency has really been at the foundation, one of the main components of the foundation of our marriage. And if you haven't been transparent in your pre-marital life, you will never know everything there is to know. But it's really important that to show up in your marriage as who you are. Not just the bad.
The authentic
not
self.
just the bad, because when you hear authenticity, you often hear about the negatives of the marriage. Oh, I'm this and I accept that and so on and so forth. But also the good. Because if you're a fun person and you can have fun outside with your friends, there's no reason that you can't bring that authenticity into your marriage. So it's not just about the proposed negative things, it's also about the positive things, the energy that you give everybody else outside. It's so important to give that same energy to your wife and your family.
Yeah, and that's why you have the energy. That's what the person saw in you, really and truly. That's what the person saw, that energy in you. So it's important that you, there's a phrase that charity begins at home, which is kind of like but it's true, you need to start at home, you need to keep that flame burning at home first.
Yes.
And then now whatever you have left, you can give it outside. But sometimes, we find ourselves the reverse roles where we go and we entertain everybody, we please everybody, and then we come home and we're so tired and we have nothing left to give. And then we're just like, leave me alone, I'm tired. But that's for another show.
That's for another show. So if you take anything away from today, it's just, let's always strive to be our most authentic selves. And in so doing, we can set a good foundation for the rest of our journey. We may not have started out as transparent, but if we can work together, we can build authenticity in a way that helps us move to the next level.
I mean, just in case, if you, like Nadine said, if you're past that point of, the honeymoon stage in your relationship or marriage, we had a friend who used this golfing term. We used to call a mulligan. So you ask for a mulligan and say, you know what happened? Just give me a mulligan. With both of us, we're going to start over at this point where we're going to just be open and expose our true self. I don't use the word expose. Expose sounds negative. But reveal our true self. Is there anything that you and I would like to share now? That we didn't share because maybe we didn't remember.
Right.
Can you give your partner the benefit of the doubt? We didn't know, because there's something about yourself sometimes you don't even remember. So, and you take your time and you share non-judgmentally, because you have to agree not to judge the person. It's like, you remembered well, you just didn't say it. But you give that kind of a do-over, and you put points, whether it's your anniversary or Valentine's or birthday or something, you set it that at that time, we kind of start a new chapter where we're free to say, okay, this is what happened.
Right.
And if it's something negative, there's always cause and effect.
Yes.
So whatever negative things that happened in your life, always try to find out the reason why, even if it was your fault as a decision that you made.
Yes.
I learned that, and that's something we're going to talk about
In
later
another
on
show.
as we come. So stick around with us, and like, subscribe, and stick around,
Yes.
and we will get to talk about more about ourselves, and
And what has worked for us
Yeah,
in
yeah,
the hope
yeah.
that we can learn from each other. Feel free to drop us a comment in the comment section
Mm-hmm.
and, just share with us what works for you. We
Yeah.
really appreciate that because we're never too old to learn. We always look to learn. It's so important to keep learning in life and in marriage.
Yep.
So until next time, goodbye.
Bye.